And that's the metaphor of a splinter. If you're doing some work somewhere, maybe walking alongside of the road, working on a house, um, pick up a piece of wood or a piece of metal, and a piece breaks off and it lodges in your arm or your hand or your finger or your foot. And in that moment of feeling attacked, that moment of pain, of violation, we throw the stick or the metal away and we continue on our journey. But for some reason, we refuse to pull out the splinter. And because we refuse to pull out the splinter, from that moment on, no matter where we go or what we do or who we're with, that piece of wood or that piece of metal that we left behind oh so long ago still has the same power over us that it did when it happened. But like all splinters that are left untended or uncared for, the splinter festers. It begins to get infected. It begins to become toxic. It begins to poison the rest of your life, the rest of your system. And we can be mad at the stick all day long, but that stick is gone. The splinter remains, which is the piece you kept. And as long as you keep the splinter, you'll continue to feel the pain. The stick can't and won't come back and pull the splinter out for you. Only you can do that. Pulling out the splinter is about taking back your power. Saying, I'm not going to let you poison my life anymore. I give it back to the world, the universe. Let the universe deal with you, because it will. It's about the understanding that healing and forgiveness is always for us. Forgiveness doesn't mean what that person did was okay. It doesn't mean you'll ever allow it to happen again. It doesn't mean that you have to like that person, even though it may be someone who claims to love you or that you love. It doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life or that they get a pass. It means you let them deal with them, and God will deal with them, so you can heal and be free. Because you're the only one who can heal that. Does that make sense? Right? Whether, the thing about and I'll be right with Susan in a minute. The thing about the forgiving heart meditation is that it tries to fill your heart with love and compassion and then take you to a perspective where you can see things from God's eyes. Right? But sometimes that's too abstract for us. We need something a little bit more functional, a little bit more practical. When we say, I forgive, what we're really saying is what you did was wrong, you hurt me, and I'm not going to let it punish, I'm not going to punish myself for what you did anymore. Because that is what you're doing. Just like at the beginning of this weekend, when I was talking about driving through that intersection, getting T-boned by the car, right? The T-boning happened once. For the next 10, 15, 20 years, you've been T-boning yourself. Well, the things that happened to you weren't necessarily your fault. They shouldn't have happened to you, maybe. But you can't expect the stick to come back and take the splinter back. It just doesn't work that way. There's only one person in the universe who can pull out the splinter, and that's you. Right? Of course, we could always count God in there too, but anyway, Susan.
One way that I've learned it is we do forgivenesses, like we'll voice forgivenesses. I forgive whomever, whatever. And then we always end with, and I forgive myself for taking offense at these things.
Mhm.
And if you think, and it was one day I realized, yeah, we take offense. Offense is never given, but we take it and then we hold on to it. And so we always, whenever I do forgivenesses with people, I always say, and we always end that way with, I forgive myself for taking offense at these things to help let them go. So hopefully that helps someone.
Yeah. And the important thing to remember is this, is that you can't say the words and expect it to work. There has to be a commitment and an understanding. It's a feeling that you get, okay? Or the transformation of a feeling as we forgive. But you did hit on something that's really, really important. The most powerful forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Because many times bad things happen, people do bad things to us, and we get angry at ourselves for allowing it to happen, for not being smart enough or strong enough or aware enough or enough of anything that this person was able to do this to us. And a lot of times when you've done all kinds of forgiveness work towards the offending party and it still doesn't go away, it's because it's not the person you're really mad at. It's not the person who's really hurting you now, right? The other side of that, if I can remember what I was going to say. Oh, this is the other functional part. Forgiveness is almost always conditional, functionally. There has to be a certain amount of preceding steps that allow us to get to forgiveness. Sometimes it's one big step, just the realization that we're punishing ourselves. But sometimes, for whatever reason, the offense that we receive, or as Susan said, we take, is so grievous that we have to get some kind of payback, some kind of balancing of the scales before we're willing to let it go. And that's where things like when you come to regression and we do things like the karma police or chair therapy or progressive desensitization and all these different ways that we theatrically act out punishing the transgressor. We vent that emotional charge. That's what sets the condition for forgiveness to happen. So many times you can't get to forgiveness until you get to justice. And you can't get to justice until you get to acceptance. Acceptance that what happened to you actually happened to you and it's over. That, again, we talk about the stages of grief. They're very, very similar. We have denial, we have anger, grief, and depending on what stage you're stuck at, that's how many steps you probably need to get to forgiveness. Right? A lot of times for justice is enough. You can just get the person to get even on in a proxy level, symbolically be punished for what they did. That's enough for the unconscious mind to let it go, to be willing to process it out. Right? So as you're doing your forgiveness work, be kind to yourself because some things need justice first. Right? We can't mete out justice until we accept that a crime was actually committed. Right? It's like going to the cop, reporting the crime, and say, "I don't believe you." So the cop believes you, nothing happens. Right? If there's a part of you that's still in denial of what happened, still trying to bargain your way through it, right? We need to get to that too, right? So, Susan, your hand is up again or still? Okay, Dominic.
So basically, was a wonderful description of forgiveness, and last time you did it, it helped me a lot. And now, actually, my point is, I forgave several things by putting a lot of justice into it with my
That's
with any
okay.
kinds of expression. But what not but and now is the thing. I feel like there's some grief, and I would like to understand what are the steps that could happen. Like, for example, you said in order to achieve forgiveness, you need justice. What's with grief? For example, I lost some people in my life that I had to forgive. And now I'm sad what I lost for time, that I lost for a family member, that I lost for friends. And I want to just understand, like on a very high level, what the next steps are on a grief level.
Okay, so the pathogenesis of an emotional trauma or an emotionally induced illness starts with injury. Okay, something hurts us physically, mentally, emotionally. From there, you have two paths that can happen. You go into anger or sadness. Okay, anger will go into indifference or depression. It'll start with it'll start with an outwardly aggressive, an outwardly directed anger, and then it will go into depression, and then it will become, I think it's numbness. They just don't care. They become apathetic, right? That's the equivalent of sticking your hand in the ice bucket and it hurts, and then it goes numb, and then you don't feel anything anymore. The other pathogenesis is you go from hurt or injury to loss or sadness, and then from sadness into grief, from grief into apathy, and from apathy you have the same idea. It becomes numb, right? So that's how a trauma or a somaticization of a trauma is formed. A lot of times when people do something heinous that we just is completely out of their character, we can't wrap our heads around that this actually happened. We go into shock, right? And in that moment, we're in a state of denial because the behavior is so unexpected that we can't wrap our head around it. You see this mimicked a lot of times in cop shows where the cops show up to tell the parents or the significant other of the murder victim what happened, and they can't they can't entertain the idea. That's that moment of denial. And then in that moment when denial moves into realization of the truth, they go into acceptance and they collapse and they go into grief. Right. And then you'll see for the next however long they are, they're just like zombies walking around because they're numb. They're in apathy. And depending on how they process that grief, they'll either stay there or they'll go through that process, vent the feelings, and eventually heal to a certain degree. Right? Same thing with anger. You get angry, you try to lash out, you try to fight back. That's anger. You try to support your boundaries or press your boundaries. You push back. If it works, you heal. If it doesn't, you become depressed. You become depressed. You turn that anger because of the futility of the situation. You turn it towards yourself. Usually because you're angry at yourself because you can't do anything about it. You feel helpless, you feel hopeless, you feel disempowered. And so you beat yourself up. And then eventually you reach a tipping point where, oh, fuck it. And you stop thinking about it because there's nothing you can do. So you just stuff it and you try to forget about it. Right? Well, and that's where the pathogenesis of a lot of our stuff comes from. That stuffing and that numbness that we wrap around the issue. Right? So does that help? All right. Jax.
So, Christine kind of explained the karma police, and we did that several times.
Mm-hmm.
But I always felt like the karma police, by sending it back, you still have your own karma to live, even though you've sent that energy back to where it came from. But does that energy belong there? Are you sending it right, or are you sending your own energy somewhere
You're
where it
not,
doesn't belong?
Christine didn't explain it well.
Okay.
In the karma police, you're not doing anything. God is,
Right.
right? So how can God make a mistake?
As far as I'm concerned, he can't.
Exactly. When you're doing karma police, there are phases to karma police. First is the bagging and tagging, where the karma police show up, they sort through the stuff, and they deliver it back to the people, places, and events
Okay.
who
Right. I
created that
forgot about
stuff,
that.
in the first place and imposed it on you. Key word, imposed it on you, made you suffer for it. And they deliver that karma back to those people, key phrase, in the most karmically appropriate way imaginable. In the way that gives you the greatest sense of justice, inner peace, vindication, and validation. The sense, the certainty of all wrongs being made right for all the right reasons, your reasons. And the best part is, you're even allowed to enjoy it.
I forgot about parts of that. She did explain it right. I
Okay?
just forgot the parts.
Right? The whole idea behind the karma police is you're bearing witness to God coming down and said, you were injured, you were hurt, I'm fixing this right now. And this stuff goes right back to the people who fucked it up, who shouldn't, who gave it to you and should never have done that. That's me stepping in and saying, hey, this is the guy, I'm fixing this for you. And then what's left is whatever stuff you're responsible for. And what do you do with that? You dissolve it. You disperse it. You put it in the world's largest karmic incinerator, send it off to the sun, dissolve it in acid, just stick it up the butt of someone you really hate. I don't really care. Whatever way allows you to feel completely free and clear of that karma, that's what you do. And then you test it. You try to bring it back and notice what happens instead.
Okay.
Right? That's the process. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything? Dominic, go ahead.
Yes, the thing that you just explained wonderfully, is there any book or any source that you can point to, the things about the stages of grief, anger, and forgiveness?
Death and Dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I think that's what it's
Death
called. The
and
stages.
dying.
I think is that what it is, Seth? I know the author is Elizabeth Kubler-Ross or Roth or something. You can get The Secrets of the Buddhist Mystic by Dr. Jerry Allen Johnson. I think some of the Buddhist psychology is in there. Taoist Chinese energetic medicine also has it in there. Those are the only sources I know for that particular model. I'm sure there's others.
So the secret teachings of Chinese energetic medicine from Johnson.
Yep. There's a
Okay.
lot of them. Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Jax.
I was just thinking, there's five. I think there's five of them, and I've got like three of them right now, and I haven't even opened them yet.
I understand. I
That's
feel
a
your pain.
lot of reading. That's heavy
Oh,
reading.
I have most of his books, just so you understand.
Got that. Now you said that was Tao. Okay, we got the Taoist Chinese medicine, Secrets of a Buddhist Mystic, and the name of the book is Death and Dying.
I think it's Death and Dying, but it could be The Stages of Grief by
What is her name?
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross.
Elizabeth Kubler,
Yeah.
Kubler.
I think so. You can always
Okay.
Google it.
Yep. Thank you.
And I think it's hyphenated because I think it's like her maiden name and her married name. 5 Stages of Grief, Exploring the Kubler-Ross Model. Yeah, try 5 Stages of Grief. You'll probably get more traction on that one. But I've seen that same 5 stages in other contexts. Like if somebody is, again, I can't give any names, but let's say somebody is diagnosed with an STD that's not curable. They'll go through a very, very similar set of stages as they move from denial to acceptance to denial to bargaining to acceptance they'll go through all the same stages. Right? So if someone is diagnosed with something that's uncurable, they'll tend to, maybe not to the same degree, although it can be pretty traumatic depending on how important a part of their life that aspect is. They'll go through many similar stages because something is dying. An old version is dying, or something that you enjoyed is dying. So you may go through very similar stages in that process. Yes, Akio.
Is there a way to go faster through the grieving process? Or should you just let it go naturally?
I'm going to tell you, people ask me this question all the time. And most people get into trouble with the grieving process because they try to go through it too fast, faster. The fastest way to go through the grieving process is to surrender to it completely. Feel it as fully and completely as you can, so the system is not clogged with that energy. It can process it at whatever speed is optimal. And then if after a reasonable amount of time, which is, by the way, is not based on conscious expectations, but rather on when you feel whole again. If it goes beyond a reasonable amount of time, and I usually give it at least 3 months. Like I had a gentleman who came to my last healing intensive. He called me up 2 weeks ago, just completely destroyed because his dog that he loved beyond anything suddenly just died. Her intestines twisted and gone. And he called me up literally like the same day or the next day, wanting to know if I could help him. And I said, it's too soon. There's too much emotional charge. The system's in chaos, and it will not let go of that until the emotional chaos has subsided. And I said to him, give it 3. And he listened to me. Like I could hear him gasp on the other end of the phone. Like I was crazy. A few days ago, I got an email from him, said, thank you, man. It actually worked. Right? In less than 2 weeks, he was healing. Right? First time I ran into that, I was in medical school up in Whittier, and my good friend Cynthia was in love with this guy. She was getting ready to get married. She was making all these plans. And then one day he just calls her up out of the blue and breaks everything off. And she knew I was a hypnotist, and she was in so much pain, so much agony from that sudden shock. And she was in shock. She called me I couldn't help her. The reason I couldn't help her, she couldn't follow my instructions. She couldn't let go. She couldn't relax. If the client can't follow the instructions, you can't help them. You have to do something different. So when it comes to grief or sudden losses, it's best to either use some kind of physical intervention, which I don't like, but if necessary, it can be done, or simply surrender to the process, let the energy work its way through, and then clean up whatever's left using whatever techniques you know. That's the most efficient way to do it, right? If for some reason you still can't let it go, then we use our other processes like chair therapy, deathbed therapy, regress to cause, things of that nature, right? But most of the time, those things only become necessary because you're in denial. You've suppressed it, you've denied it, you've distracted yourself from it. You've done everything but express it. Okay? Dominic.
So to understand you right, you can't do anything actively. I understood that. But if it's like a friend or so, like being with them or stabilizing them, bringing them food or something that's
Yeah,
not active, trying to get rid of the grief, but
exactly.
just
They need
okay,
support.
understand.
They need
Okay,
somebody to hold
understand.
space for them. They need somebody to provide a safe environment where they can express all the politically incorrect feelings and rage and things that they have that the woke society tries to make you bottle up and not express and yada yada yada. Nobody ever wound up in my chair because of things they were expressing. Ever. Okay? It's always the unspoken things, the unexpressed things that toxify and make us sick. Like a splinter we didn't pull out. Okay? Susan, are you here?
I
Susan,
am.
can you
Hello.
hear me?
I can
Susan.
hear you.
All right. Top takeaways from this weekend.
I loved all the love.
You loved all the
That was
love.
awesome. I love meeting the people. Everybody's wonderful, and it's an honor to be in class with all of you.
Cool. Excellent. Jax, top takeaways from this weekend.
Well, I learned that I can still grieve. I learned that I can still feel emotion. And I learned that I can heal.
Mm-hmm.
When I crashed after Killer Influence, I had already lost my dog and my brother in the same 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I went into that cycle that you were talking about, and then I just went numb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I've been for the last several years until my sister passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, my younger sister sent me part of her ashes and an old card that she had gotten from Barbara years ago. And I didn't even read the whole card. It just said, from Barbara, I love you. And I'm like, this is a fucking message from the past. God, Barb, I love you too. And it was like she's given me a message since she's passed. And I felt a ton of emotion that day too.
Good. Remember, if you can't feel it, you can't heal it. So my
I'm
job is
feeling it.
just to get you to feel. If you can feel it, the universe will take care of the rest. Machiel, your first exposure to Planet David in a seminar. What'd you discover? What'd you learn? What are your top takeaways from the weekend?
Oh, I don't know. It's so much, but mostly like, yeah, I've got good tools to keep on fixing the shit that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the sessions were amazing, like the guided meditations or whatever you call them. Got so much out of them.
Just gets better from here. There's
Yeah,
more. There's more on the horizon.
yeah. I realized all what is possible. Like I knew a lot is possible, and now it's even more expanded. So yeah,
Excellent. Very good.
thank you.
Just gets better from here. Just gets better. Dominic.
So many things, but I will focus on three. So the first thing that I integrated this weekend is just because it's on your list doesn't mean you have to fix it now in order to move forward. I tried that. It was like always consciously, but now it was like, oh, there's a list. Fuck it. I can still move forward. Doesn't matter. This was the first thing. Second thing is the sentence that like I always like shared is like sometimes it's enough being yourself and being experienced, and people would even pay for that. I experienced that with a little reel of just a camera within flowers, nothing
Mhm.
more. People loved it, and it was just the sound of the flowers and 3 seconds. And the third thing, when I was in the session or like the talking session with Jax, I was just so happy that she could smile when I asked her for bikini pictures from when she goes to holiday in some months or weeks.
Good.
It just
That's
made me
kind of creepy,
happy.
but I'll go with that.
It's my strange humor, but it's not. It's about seeing people smile.
Mhm.
Uh, that makes me happy, and seeing her
Excellent.
smile makes me very happy.
That's good. That's a good place to start. Seth.
Oh, well, my favorite part was your inductions.
Hmm. What you remember of them?
And yeah, well, I can remember I enjoyed them without remembering what they were.
Fair enough. I think that's all of our up, Susan. Yes.
I just have to say, for the first time in ages, I slept like a rock last night. Oh my God, I think I fell asleep twice yesterday during the inductions, but my God, I slept so good. And I woke up today and it was so easy to have perfect posture. I don't know why, but it was like, yes, it was
Emotions will
wonderful.
emotions will distort your posture. As you clean it, your posture returns to natural, right? It's actually a cool thing, right? All
Very good.
right. Well, on that note, my friends, thank you all so much for an amazing weekend. Thank you for your participation, for showing up and giving yourself to these processes. Remember, they're still happening. If you need to reach out to me regarding next steps, please reach out to me at 858, hold on a second, 858 282 4663. You can also reach me at David at nlppower.com or Mia at nlppower.com. I'll probably send you guys a follow-up email with some QR codes and stuff like that. If you need help figuring out which programs you want to go or what events you want to go to next. That's what I'm here for. And I'll see what I can do about the footage from this event, see what we're willing to do, what we can do, and we'll go from there. In the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, my friends. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you next time.